The following newscast is based on the wide world of social media. The stories are real. The reporters are really real because they are you, the members of social media. All Facebook names have been abbreviated for user protection. This is the Social News Media Network.
Hello and welcome to the SNM Network, the only weekly newscast reported by you, the wide world of social media. I'm Colin Cosell. As I'm sure you know by now, it's tax day in America. We begin our tax day coverage with Twitter reporter Women's Humor, who's not so much concerned about being audited as they tweeted, "Filed my tax return today. The IRS is probably going to mock me for how long I've been single." How's that women's humor? Either way, we do realize that the task of preparing one's taxes can be a bit daunting, as was apparent with celebrity Twitter reporter Conan O'Brien's tax question. Is it technically considered cheating if you claim your 5.4 million Twitter followers as dependents? I don't know. Can we have some of those followers, please? It's now time for our Focus on Politics. Former Senator Rick Santorum formally terminated, aborted? Who wrote this? All right, he suspended his campaign this week. Thank you. All right, that's better. Reddit reporter The Prothean observed, surprisingly, none of the four Republican candidates who claimed that God told them to run for president, Bachmann, Kane, Santorum, and Perry, actually secured the Republican nomination. God sure is a dickhead. There goes our religious fans. But Santorum won't be missed by everyone, a view shared by our senior Twitter political correspondent and actual daughter of Senator John McCain. This is really his daughter, Meghan McCain, who tweeted, "Adios, Santorum. Now it's just Gingrich left out there fighting the delusional fight. Hashtag Team Romney." Wow. But the former speaker still has an uphill battle to clinch the nomination. Twitter's Charlie Browns notes, that's how he wrote it, I don't know. Newt Gingrich's campaign is $4.5 million in debt, and Cinnabon wants its money. Because he's fat. Hopefully he can at least claim some of his 1.4 million followers on his taxes, unlike Romney. Speaking of Romney, Mrs. Mitt Romney was also in the news this week after political pundit and Napster killer Hillary Rosen made an offhand comment about how the prospective First Lady has never worked a day in her life. And the Twitterverse was quick to come to Mrs. Romney's defense, as celebrity reporter Paula Poundstone pointed out, Ann Romney has even more challenges than most stay-at-home moms. She has to decide which home to stay in. They're rich. Reporter Mike Drucker pointed out, teaching a robot to love is a full-time job. Ann Romney. It is. Twitter correspondent Joe My God, whose handle is awesome, also notes, Ann Romney was so upset by Hillary Rosen, not one of the maids, nannies, cooks, or drivers could coax her out of bed this morning. Feel better, Ann. But the big news story this week was Newark Mayor Cory Booker's heroic rescue of a neighbor from a house fire. This appears to have inspired others, as Twitter's Frank Conniff notes, not to be outdone by Cory Booker, Chris Christie just ran into a bakery and saved a tray of cinnamon rolls from burning. Because he, too, is fat. Reporter Saladino adds, he was hospitalized for pastry inhalation and second-degree burns to his mouth. I wonder if they have a feeding tube that's rated in gallons per minute. Too much? While on the topic of disturbing imagery, occasionally an image gets shared that is so unique that it demands lots of different interpretations from our Facebook followers. That's why we called on you to be ready for caption. Okay. This is our new segment, and we figured we'd start it with this frightening picture of President Obama and the First Lady. Let's have a look here. Oh. All right, so our first submission came from SNM's own Nigel AF, who took a political direction. Republicans, I will win the next election, and then there's nothing you can do about it. Wahahaha! Which makes you wonder what's up with her face in it. But... And Duncan J had another take with, and this is what Bin Laden looked like when I ordered the kill shot. Too soon. And finally, Megan E. thought it answered the question of, Mr. and Mrs. Obama, what do your O faces look like? Bow, chicka, bow, bow. We'll be doing another image soon, so if you'd like to join in, just like us on Facebook and be sure you're ready for caption. Yay! In other news, North Korea's launch of a missile believed to be part of their nuclear testing program failed as the rocket broke up soon after launch. While the story made headlines around the world, reporters, the Sklar brothers, think we may be hearing about it in other ways with their tweet, expecting to hear this in an upcoming Cialis commercial. Ever feel like your penis is like the North Korean nuclear program? Can't get it up. Correspondent Not Bill Walton had the inside scoop on changes in the testing program with North Korea's missile went down so fast that its code name has been changed to the Kardashian. Dirty. In a completely unrelated story, a meth lab was discovered in a bathroom at one of the nation's largest retailers. We now turn to reporter Mankin Muller, who's on the scene with police in Alabama discovered a meth lab inside a Walmart. Then they discovered another Walmart inside the meth lab. I don't think that's factual. Not everyone was a fan of the Walmart lab, as Twitter's Gonzo Greg reports, police in Alabama discovered a meth lab inside a Walmart. I prefer the meth lab at Target. It's just a little nicer, you know? And in other news, 77-year-old killer Charles Manson was denied parole for the 12th time on Wednesday, but not everyone was relieved as correspondent Eli Braden tweeted, how funny would it be if they let 77-year-old Charles Manson out of prison and he just immediately started slaughtering C-list celebs again? Coming for you, Kardashians. Borowitz Report had some insights on political fallout with Charles Manson is denied parole, effectively ending his bid for the GOP presidential nomination. But he would have been so good. It's now time for this week's Trendy McTrenderson! The social media world fell victim to a picture of a rather handsome gentleman who, despite running in a marathon, maintained his dashing good looks. His name is Zeddy Little, but he's been named the really photogenic guy by social media. Let's have a look. God, he's handsome. Naturally, this called for some captions, so let's look at one that came up on the internet. Used in stock photo for picture frames, no one replaces it. Here's another one where he smiles at the camera. The girl who took the picture is now pregnant. And finally, our own version. He's never watched the SNM network and is suddenly the new anchor. Up yours, Zeddy. I'm just kidding. Thanks for being so gosh darn handsome and for being this week's Trendy McTrenderson. It's now time for entertainment news as a handsome man more known for his talent had an unfortunate encounter with a fan. For more on this story, we turn to Twitter reporter Michelle is a Wolf, that's another great name, who reports Alec Baldwin's stalker was arrested outside his New York City apartment. She's 40, so she should have known she'd have no chance with him. He's a cradle robber. It was also revealed that celebrity super couple Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie finally got engaged. Yay! No. According to our Widstream Bureau's Keith Wade, Brad and Angelina will be registered at Macy's, Crate & Barrel, and the Mother Teresa Home for Orphan Children. It's now time for holiday news. Friday the 13th was summed up, as it just passed by Twitter's D. Schnob, who outlined his plans by tweeting, being festive today by seeing a horror movie on Friday the 13th, since I didn't wear green on St. Patty's or experience emotion on Valentine's. Oh, wow. We're not wearing green on St. Patty's? What is he, a communist? Speaking of communists, it's now time for sports. A certain eccentric Miami Marlins manager professed his love and respect for longtime Cuban dictator Fidel Castro, which is not a good idea while managing a baseball team that plays its home games in a place called Little Havana. According to Twitter's Brendan O'Brien 77, Ozzie Guillen got suspended for saying nice things about Fidel Castro. In related news, Arizona's manager got fired for saying he likes Cubans. Oh. I'm hoping that's cigars. Well, that's going to do it for this week's SNM Network broadcast. Be sure to tune in next week to get the best news coverage around, as well as to find out if you or some of the people you know are one of our reporters. And if you find hilarity in everyday social media and you want to contribute to our show, you'll also be in the credits. Please visit socialnewsmedia.net for instructions on how to do so. And please, follow us on Twitter and Facebook already. For all of us in the SNM Network, I'm Colin Cosell reminding you to watch what you say, because we are... That thumping, by the way, was the Obamas making their O faces.